If you play good, they pay good. Especially in the NBA, where winning is a business strategy. Back in 2010, when the Golden State Warriors sold for what was then a record $450 million, the sale looked like an epic overpay. In hindsight, that $450 million layout looks like a slam dunk investment today. The Warriors are now worth more than $7 billion. That's a 1,455% increase. And a big reason for that is the Warriors' success on the hardwood. The Golden State Warriors have been in the NBA Finals 6 times since the 2014-15 season. Just how big of an impact does a long playoff run make on an NBA team's value? Sit back, relax, and take this in. In the world of professional sports, winning isn't just about the glory, it's about the green. And nowhere is this more evident than in the NBA, where a championship run can mean tens of millions of dollars for a team's bottom line. The Warriors are a textbook example of this. Last year, they raked in $206 million in operating income, 33% more than anyone else in the NBA. Back in 2010, they raked in just $22.2 million in operating income. Those rings, though.
These rings will be your most important possession.
For the Warriors, those additional 10 or 12 home games a year for the past 8 years have resulted in an extra $750 million in income. The reason they got to keep that extra cash is due to the league's revenue sharing agreement, the most generous out of the 4 major North American pro sports. In 2016, the league agreed to cut their share from 45% to 25%, meaning teams now keep 75% of all ticket revenue generated from playoff games. And that ain't no small potatoes.
Hot potato! Ooh.
This can equate to a lot of money over a playoff run, especially considering playoff tickets are typically priced at a 200% markup from regular season games. Last year, playoff games contributed to a combined $300 million in additional revenue for the 16 playoff teams. And the Warriors' repeated trips to the NBA Finals have meant more than just additional revenue. Their success on the court has transformed the Warriors' brand and has resulted in a monumental increase in their franchise valuation. Again, they're worth $7.56 billion today, making them the most valuable franchise in the NBA. Back in 2010, they were the game's 18th most valuable club. And they're not the only team that's experienced a glow up like that. The Milwaukee Bucks, for example, were worth $312 million in 2013. Today, they're worth $3.5 billion. Clearly, winning is a viable business strategy in the NBA. But does it work across all leagues? Not exactly. In contrast, the NFL retains 100% of playoff ticket revenue. Sure, teams get to keep their concession and parking revenue, but that truly is small potatoes, amounting to about $1 million or $2 million per game.
Please, sir, I want some more.
This means that even if a team dominates the postseason, it won't necessarily boost their value. The Kansas City Chiefs are the perfect example of this. They appeared in the Super Bowl 3 out of the last 4 seasons, but their valuation only increased by 146%, which is just slightly above the NFL average of 126%. Conversely, in Major League Baseball, winning sure helps boost a team's bottom line. While their revenue sharing agreement is a bit complex, teams still benefit from a playoff payoff. The Houston Astros are a prime example, with 4 World Series appearances under their belt since 2015 and a whopping 188% increase in value during that time, beating the league average of 72%. Sure, MLB's revenue sharing might not be as generous as the NBA's, but it still pays off big for consistently successful teams. When it comes to playoffs and revenue sharing in professional sports leagues, the NHL is most comparable to the NBA, with a revenue split of 35% for the league and 65% for the teams. With ticket sales accounting for 44% of the NHL's annual revenue, teams jack up prices to anywhere from 20% to 100% during the Stanley Cup playoffs, generating a whopping $200 million for the 16 playoff teams in 2022. Dynasties are harder to come by in the NHL, but the Tampa Bay Lightning do provide a worthy case study. They've made the playoffs 8 of the past 9 seasons, taking home back-to-back Stanley Cups in 2021 and 2022. That last Cup run gave the team 11 home playoff games, resulting in an estimated $25 million to $40 million in additional revenue. Today, they're valued at $1 billion, a 285% increase over their value in 2015. But nothing really compares to the major upside of getting in on the ground floor of an NBA franchise that turns into a dynasty. That's why NBA players want a piece of the pie. Players like Steph Curry, who are bringing their teams deep into the playoffs every year, are worth billions of dollars to their teams when you consider how their impact raises a team's valuation over time. In 2013, when the Warriors selected Curry 7th overall in the NBA draft, they were valued at $335 million. Just 10 years down the road, the number has skyrocketed to north of $7 billion. Could you imagine if Curry had an equity stake rather than merely a salary? While the NBA has been hesitant to individually incentivize winning to this extent, there's one thing that's for sure. Hitting the jackpot on the court can pay a team dividends for years to come.